Let me ask you a question that changed the course of my own life. One that every person ought to ask themselves at least once and then revisit every time they start to feel stuck. What's your real paycheck? Not the number on your direct deposit, not the hours you log on a timesheet. What are you truly harvesting from the time you plant each day? See, time is the soil. Value is the fruit. Most people get so focused on the clock, they forget to look at what's actually growing. They show up, put in the hours, punch the card, and wait for Friday to hand them a reward. And then they wonder why the harvest never gets any richer, no matter how many seasons pass. Philosophically, I learned this lesson the hard way. I used to think time was the magic ingredient. If I just show up and stay longer, work harder, give more hours, surely the world will notice. But that's not how life works. The marketplace is a mirror. It doesn't pay you for your time, it pays you for your value. That truth can sting at first, especially if you're used to believing that fairness is a matter of hours or that loyalty to a clock will someday buy you freedom. But it's the most liberating lesson you'll ever embrace. When you realize you can't squeeze more out of the same hours, you begin to ask a better question. How can I bring more to the hours I already have? Emotionally, this truth can bring up frustration, even resentment. You look around and see people working less than you, earning more. You see talent passing you by, and you wonder, what do they have that I don't? It's easy to fall into a cycle of quiet desperation, working more, earning the same, hoping for a breakthrough that never comes. But here's the real hope. You're not stuck with your first harvest. You can learn to plant new seeds. You can learn to bring more value. And when you do, the harvest grows, regardless of how much sun is left in the sky. Practically, I'm not here to tell you to work harder. I'm here to tell you to become more valuable. That's the hinge the whole door swings on. You can't control the number of hours in the day, but you can absolutely control what you invest in those hours. Are you learning, improving, sharpening, solving? Are you just marking time, or are you building leverage that compounds? The difference is everything. So let's be honest, what's your real paycheck? Is it the wage someone else set, or is it the value you're bringing to the table? Are you harvesting fruit, or just scattering seed and hoping for the best? The beautiful thing is, this is a law. It works for everyone, everywhere. Money is a mirror for value, not for time. Once you embrace that, you stop blaming the calendar and start building your own worth. Let's go deeper into this law. Let's talk about the value exchange that separates those who get paid for time from those who get rewarded for what they become. Because if you want to change your paycheck, you have to first change your understanding of what's really being paid for. And that journey, my friend, starts today. There's a law at work in the marketplace, whether you acknowledge it or not. I call it the law of value exchange. Time is the same for all of us, but value is the multiplier. The man who shows up and trades his hours for dollars will always have a ceiling. The man who finds a way to multiply his value within those same hours breaks through every ceiling, financial, personal, even spiritual. Here's the truth. You can't negotiate with the marketplace for more money unless you first negotiated with yourself to become more valuable. Let's get practical. Take two men working side by side in the same company, both putting in the same 8 hours. One collects the standard wage, the other earns twice as much. Why? The answer is rarely time. It's always value. Maybe one man solved a bigger problem, took on a new responsibility, learned a skill no one else had, or made himself indispensable to his team. Value is the multiplier. Time is just the container. And here's the contrast that most people miss. If you only ever trade time, you become a commodity, easily replaced, easily overlooked, easily underpaid. But the minute you start raising your value by reading, learning, practicing, improving, innovating, leading, contributing, you start to separate yourself from the pack. Time alone is not leverage. Value is. If you want to earn more, don't ask for a longer day. Ask for a better you. The practical illustration is everywhere. Think about the person who shows up, does the minimum, clocks out, and expects a raise. That's not how the law works. The man who gets paid more isn't always the hardest worker. He's the one who brings more to the table, solves more complex problems, or serves more people. I've watched it in every industry, every town, every season. Two people can have the same opportunity, the same clock, the same tools, but their results are determined by what they bring, not by how long they stay. So if you feel stuck, If you look at your paycheck and see a cap that won't budge, don't blame the time. Look for ways to multiply your value. Find the gaps that others ignore, the skills that are rare, the problems nobody else is willing to touch. Every marketplace rewards the man who brings more than is expected, who delivers what others can't, who builds themselves up so much that the world can't help but take notice. But most people get stuck right here. They believe three big myths that keep them trading time for pennies instead of building value for a fortune. Let's expose those myths, because until you see through them, you'll keep circling the same ceiling, wondering why nothing changes. The law is simple, but the stories we tell ourselves are what make it complicated. Let's clear those away and set you on the path to becoming indispensable, one day, one discipline at a time. Let's get honest about the myths that keep so many people trapped in the cycle of trading hours for dollars and wondering why their lives never change. The first myth is this: work more, earn more. Now, I grew up in a time when hard work was held up as a virtue, and it is. But hard work alone, without added value, only gets you tired, not rich. The world is filled with people who are busy, but not better off. I learned that lesson stacking boxes, working the farm, and watching men twice my age labor harder than anyone, yet always worried about money. The world pays for value, not exhaustion. Here's the second myth: the company owes me. Many people feel they are entitled to more just for showing up year after year. But the truth is, nobody is owed anything except what they've earned by becoming more valuable. Longevity doesn't guarantee leverage. If you want more, you have to become more through learning, discipline, attitude, and results. The marketplace is brutally fair in this way. It rewards contribution, not simply presence. The third myth: experience equals value. I've met plenty of people who have 10 years experience, and it's really 1 year, repeated 10 times. They haven't grown, haven't stretched, haven't innovated. Don't let experience become a cushion. Let it be a ladder. Are you using your time to grow, to master, to multiply? Or are you just logging hours and calling it progress? See, the reality is that leverage, contribution, and skill are the true currency in the marketplace. If you want to make more, ask, what am I contributing? Who am I helping? What can I do that's hard to replace? The more you solve, the more you teach, the more you lead, the more you systemize, the more valuable you become. This isn't about working yourself to the bone or waiting for the world to hand you a bigger paycheck. It's about empowerment. The moment you realize your value is yours to build every single day, you stop waiting and start growing. The feeling of entitlement dissolves, and in its place comes responsibility. That's the shift from frustration to hope, and that's when real earning begins. Let me show you how I learned this for myself, how I broke my own ceiling and doubled my income without adding more hours, but by raising my value. Because when you understand the law, you begin to write your own paycheck, not just receive one. Let's move from myth to mastery, one story at a time. Let me share with you the season in my life when I learned in the most practical way that you don't get paid for time, you get paid for value. Early on, I was working more hours than anyone around me. I thought if I just stayed a little later, showed up a little earlier, or said yes to every extra task, eventually someone would notice and double my pay. But every month, my check looked just about the same. The harder I worked, the more tired I got, but the ceiling never lifted. Then I met a mentor who asked me the question that rattled me. Jim, are you getting paid for your time or for what you bring to that time? He challenged me to inventory my day, not by hours, but by value. Where was I solving new problems? Where was I making things easier for others, taking the lead, or learning something nobody else on the team knew? The truth was, I'd spent years getting very good at the routine, but I wasn't raising my value. I wasn't thinking like a builder. I was thinking like a clock watcher. So I made a decision. Every day, I'd add something new. I started reading an extra page at night, learning new skills, listening to those who were ahead of me. I volunteered for projects outside my comfort zone. I found ways to save my team time, to teach what I'd learned, to document and systemize things so the whole group benefited. It wasn't about being busy. It was about being better. Slowly, the results came. People started asking for my help. My boss noticed the difference. Soon, I was offered responsibilities and then pay beyond what I'd ever imagined without ever adding extra hours. The lesson was clear. You double your value, and the marketplace will double your rewards. The value you build compounds, not just for yourself, but for everyone you touch. And every bit of leverage you create comes back multiplied. Recognition, opportunity, compensation, these are all reflections of what you bring, not just the time you spend. I became a new person by refusing to stay at the level of the routine and choosing every day to build value instead of just logging time. Now, I want you to know you can do the same. It's not about waiting for permission or hoping someone else will raise your pay. You have the tools right now to become more valuable in your work, in your business, and in your life. In the next section, I'll show you the 4 steps I use to become indispensable and how you can apply them starting today, no matter where you're starting from or how many hours you already give. Let's build your value step by step. If you want to break free from the trap of trading hours for dollars, you must start building value deliberately, consistently, and with principle. It isn't magic, and it isn't reserved for the talented few. Here are the 4 steps I've used myself and taught to thousands. Steps that will multiply your worth and, in time, transform your results. 1. Master the fundamentals others neglect. The average person wants shortcuts. The exceptional person sharpens his axe before he swings at the tree. Start by identifying the core skills of your work or craft, the true fundamentals that make a difference. Are you communicating clearly? Do you know your product or industry better than anyone else? Are you reliable, prepared, and consistent? Take the time to practice these basics so well that they become second nature. When everyone else is looking for the next hack, you're doubling down on what works. The market always rewards the man who makes the fundamentals look effortless. Imagine showing up to the job site with your tools sharp, your notes ready, and your mind focused. Your reputation is built on how well you do the simple things, again and again, without letting standards slip. Mastering fundamentals makes you the go-to person, not just the one who shows up. 2. Solve bigger problems. Your value rises with the scale and difficulty of the problems you solve. Most people run from tough problems. They do what's easy and expect a big reward. But the men and women who rise are those who look for opportunities to tackle what others avoid. Ask yourself, what challenges are holding my team or business back? Where can I step in and make a difference? Don't wait to be asked. Volunteer to lead a project, fix a broken system, or address a customer pain point that no one else wants to touch. The bigger the problem you solve, the more value you deliver. Think of yourself as a solution provider, not just a task completer. Every breakthrough you create for others multiplies your own worth in the eyes of those who matter. 3. Multiply what you know. Teach, lead, systemize. There's a limit to how much value you can add alone. The real leap comes when you multiply your value through others. Share what you've learned. Teach a colleague, mentor someone newer, or build systems that make everyone more effective. When you lead by example and document processes, you lift the whole team. Don't keep your knowledge a secret. Leaders are learners who share. If you become the person who helps others grow, who builds systems, or who creates training, you become indispensable. The multiplier effect is real. The more people benefit from what you know, the greater your value in any organization or community. 4. Upgrade your associations. Your value is shaped by the company you keep. Seek out mentors, join mastermind groups, read what leaders in your field are reading. The people you spend time with either raise your standard or lower it. You don't rise in a vacuum. You rise by association. Evaluate your network. Are you surrounded by people who complain, coast, and resist change? Or are you connecting with those who push you, challenge you, and encourage your best? The fastest way to raise your value is to spend time with people who are already living at the level you aspire to reach. Value is contagious. Upgrade your circle and you upgrade yourself. Start today. Choose one of these 4 steps and install it into your daily routine. Track your progress. Every day you sharpen your fundamentals, solve a new problem, multiply your knowledge, or build a new association, you are casting a vote for your future. Over 30 days, you'll see your confidence rise, your reputation shift, and your opportunities multiply, even if your hours remain the same. Next, I'll give you the 30-day Value Builder Challenge, a practical way to turn these steps into habits and make your new value visible, measurable, and real. Let's move from intention to action so you can harvest new fruit without ever begging for another hour in the day. Let's make your new value a reality, not just an idea. For the next 30 days, I challenge you to the Value Builder Code. Every day, do at least one thing to raise your value, not just your time. Start by tracking your daily value-adding actions. Did you master a fundamental today, rehearse, practice, or refine a basic that most overlook? Did you solve a problem, even a small one that others ignore? Did you share what you know, teach, organize, or systemize something so the next man or woman benefits from your effort? Did you reach out to someone more advanced, invest time in a new association, or read something that expanded your circle of influence? Journal these actions. Each night, write a short note, just 1 or 2 lines. Today I solved this. Today I taught that. Today I made myself more valuable. Don't wait for praise from the outside. Measure your own growth from within. Each week, reflect. What new fruit did you harvest this week? Did your work feel more meaningful? Did your boss or your peers notice a change, however small? Did new conversations, offers, or recognition start to surface, even if just in tone or respect? Value is a daily vote, not a yearly wish. The results are often invisible at first, but they compound. The roots grow before the fruit appears above ground. You might feel some resistance at first, especially if you've spent years believing that hard work alone is the ticket. That's normal. Just remember, it's not about doing more, but becoming more. The market pays for value, and you decide every single day how much you bring to the table. If you slip up, miss a day, or get discouraged, start again the next day. The compound effect doesn't require perfection, just repetition. This challenge is more than a paycheck. It's about dignity, growth, and breaking the ceiling you've always believed was out of reach. By the end of 30 days, you may find your role shifting, your confidence rising, your energy multiplying. You'll have proof in your journal, evidence that you no longer just show up in trade hours, but that you build value. And the more you build, the more the world reflects that worth back to you. Let's close with the final charge, the simple but powerful truth that has changed the course of my life and can change yours too. You don't get paid for time, you get paid for value. Don't count hours, count value, and watch your harvest grow. Let me leave you with one final image. A simple truth I wish someone had told me when I was young and hungry, clocking in and out and wondering why my life didn't move. The clock measures time, but the market pays for fruit. Don't spend another year counting the hours you give away. Start counting the value you plant, the seeds you nurture, the fruit you bring to the world. Because that's what determines the size of your harvest, your reputation, and your income. Not the ticking of the clock, but the compounding of your contribution. There's dignity in honest work, but there's freedom in valuable work. The men and women who rise, who become irreplaceable, are those who ask each morning, how can I bring more value today, regardless of how many hours I have? They are the ones who master fundamentals, solve bigger problems, multiply what they know, and upgrade their associations. Their worth grows not with each sunrise alone, but with every step they take to become more useful, more skillful, more of an answer than a question. So here's your challenge. Don't just finish this video and go back to the routine. Comment below, today I built value. Let that be your daily creed, your new scoreboard. Refuse to live by the calendar alone. Refuse to wait for someone to notice how long you've been around. Instead, build a reputation as a person who brings more, who helps more, who is always becoming more valuable to those around them. If you do this, if you count value, not just hours, you'll find your life, your relationships, and yes, your income start to grow in ways you never thought possible. Stop trading your life for time. Start multiplying your days by multiplying your worth. That's the law. That's the path. That's your next harvest. And if you start today, there's no telling how much fruit your future will hold.